Good morning, Lafayette. I'm your meteorologist, Brian Burden, here with the forecast for a gorgeous Monday morning, May 18th. Although it's not going to stay that way. Yeah, that's the unfortunate thing. If you are in the mix here and you think, hey, it's going to be another great day, it is really up until about noon. And then it's going to start falling apart after that. So then we got to look out for showers, thunderstorms, some pretty big ones this afternoon, and then another repeat round again tomorrow with another band of showers coming through. So, yeah, it's going to be an active day, but you got an hour or two right now. You can get out and run to someplace, grab something, and then head back home if you want to. If you're at home or if you're at work, make some corrections out on the lot if you're there somewhere and you need to get something fixed because there's some rain and there is thunder coming through our area this afternoon, and it's a good time for thunderstorm activity to be on the high side, to be a little bit stronger, right, in the afternoon hours when we have the most heat in the area. We're the most unstable, and then the thunderstorms are going to come through, and then we're going to stay in the rain for a while there for a bit, and the potential for thunderstorms continues on into the evening hours. I think, generally speaking, most baseball games, things like that, are going to be a washout today, but we'll see how it goes as the day develops. The models don't look good right now at all for anything actually happening. And it's how do you know that it's usually a good active day in the springtime is when it's very warm in the morning, right? So let's get to some of that stuff right there. We'll get to the main screen here. We'll pop it up. We'll come across. Good morning if you are just joining us. I am your meteorologist, Brian Burden, bringing you the forecast right now. And you can see the current temperature, 76 degrees, 76. It's 9 o'clock in the morning in May. That tells me it's going to get warm this afternoon. It's going to be a very unstable atmosphere. I don't even have to look at charts to know that the chances are very strong that we are going to hit some type of showery activity or thunderstorm activity this afternoon or sometime in the next 24 hours with a temperature of 76 currently outside. Winds directly out of the south or almost south. We'll call it southwest south, 9 miles an hour. Visibility's good right now. We're going for a high, at least the model is, of like 82 today. I'm not sure if we'll get quite that high. It just depends on how fast the cloud cover comes in. You know how that is. We talk about that a lot on this channel. You'll see a lot of those different things. And looking around the state right now, Joliet's at 74 over in Illinois. Fort Wayne, 78. Muncie, 75. Fort Wayne is 78 degrees right now. Now that the sun came up a little earlier there, they're already starting to get the warming effects of it. Kokomo, 76. Danville, 76. And Indianapolis, 75 right now. So everybody really, really warm. And there is rain on the pane, not too far away at all. Let's just get right into it, huh? Let's get into, well, I lost whatever that was. There it goes. Here comes it back to the satellite. I even zoomed in. I said, we're not even going to look at the nation right now. We're just going to look at our problems. And this is the Midwest and the eastern half of the United States. And you can see the big system moving towards Lafayette, which is right here. Now, the best and strongest storms are down towards St. Louis and most of Missouri, and that is where most of the really chaotic activity is going to be today. But it's going to hold some of its power as it gets all the way to Lafayette, and I don't think the Lafayette bubble is going to get us today. Well, it's going to move through the Lafayette bubble, so. And if you don't know what the bubble is where all these systems come in, and then they have this habit of spreading and going right around Lafayette. They go to the north up near Rensselaer. They go down south, Crawfordsville. Lafayette won't get rain, or it'll be much, much less, or whatever it is. Just seems that we call it the Lafayette bubble, but it sure seems to work a lot. All right, but with this system, we've got a little band of showers out in front. They're in central Illinois. And then just across the Mississippi River is where the big thunderstorms are. Now, when I was at the TV station, I would give it 3 to 4 hours to cross the state. Once it crossed the Mississippi here, 3 to 4 hours, and then another hour into Lafayette. So that's the timing on this. So what is the 3 to 4 hours? Well, 3 to 4, let's just put it at 4 total, right? Now you're talking 1 o'clock this afternoon. Something's coming in on it. It's pretty good. Good-sized 1 o'clock to 2 o'clock. You'll be seeing some showers, thunderstorms, pretty big at times in some places. Plenty of lightning, it looks like, too. And it does look like some of the showers with this, man, I'm already yawning. It's Monday morning. You think I'd be wide awake. Been awake for a while. There's that kicker. Maybe that'll help. All right. I feel like my voice is a little scratchy this morning and everything. All right. So there it is. Let's zoom in a little closer here, real quick, though. Let's get a regional view of this. And Lafayette's right here. You can see the power of some of these thunderstorms in here. Look how deep dark red it gets. And notice the movement inside the cell. Everything is moving towards the west, or from the west to the east, or even slightly southeast, right? But look at the cells inside. They're moving towards the north almost, but maybe we'll call it northeast for sure, is what you're seeing. So when you see a storm that pops up down near Covington this afternoon, expect that storm to get to Lafayette, even though the entire band is moving towards the east. All right, so let's slap a radar. Well, let's look at it visually real quick. You can see the power and the tops of the thunderstorms pretty well in here. You can see them bubbling up, just like it's kind of like water on when there's a lot of cloud cover around it like that. Sometimes it's like a little bubbly water. You've seen that before coming up, and then it just makes bubbles. That's exactly what you're seeing, the tops of the thunderstorms. The higher the tops, generally the more severe the weather is, and the stronger the activity with the thunderstorm is, and they are predicting we are going to get some type of severe weather today. We are not in the primest area, but we are in a pretty good area to get thunderstorms when this moves through this afternoon, just to give you a heads up. Now let's change it over to the mosaic. You can see where the rain is. So there again, a couple scattered showers out front we might run into. There's the big boy there starting to get to, well, look, it's already almost the middle of the state quite, and so that's only 2 to 3 hours of the state line and maybe an hour to Lafayette from there, so call it 3 to 4 hours, noon to 1 o'clock, right? That's where we're shooting for this band right here to get to us. Right now, it's very powerful on this point, but then it's going to pick up and move most of its power back down here, all right? And that's where you're going to see most of the activity. We are still going to get some strong thunderstorms and possibly, probably likely, at least a few severe warnings will come out for the local area, mainly for wind with this kind of thing is what we're looking for. Now we go into the localized sector and get in even closer, and you can just see it starting to hit the horizon for us here on that. And you're getting closer to Springfield, and you're getting closer to some of the cities in the central portion of the state of Illinois. And then so we usually get some indicators there. We'll see some observations come out of central Illinois. We'll know pretty good. And, with the way the internet is nowadays, there are probably guys out here chasing stuff. It's not really a tornadic maker for us, but it is down south and then back towards Missouri and Arkansas. It will be a potential there for them. Us being right about here at this point. So you can see how close they're getting right now and that they will be coming in. Okay, so what else do we have? Well, here's what the model shows everything. And it's pretty darn close. It's got everything right where it should be, I think, if you look at it. You've got the big cell right here, which is almost exactly where it is, and here we are at 9 o'clock, right? And then we have a trailing set of showers and thunderstorms down south of it. Big band to the north, it's not doing much, probably got some lightning in it, but it isn't quite the big band that's coming through here, all right? And then we watch it as it kind of develops and moves past us. Boom, boom. Here it comes. Now, the timing on this shows some scattered showers at 16Z. That's noon there. And it's saying it's going to turn a little more. It's going to kind of like rotate a little bit. So the central portion is going to slow down, right? Because look at these people had thunderstorms 2 hours before this, 3 hours before this, and they still have thunderstorms in their area. Then Chicago gets attacked a bit. And then here we are with the big band of really big thunderstorms down to the south. And then as we move into the afternoon hours, here we are at 1 o'clock, all right? So we're at 1 o'clock, and the band is still to our north. So 2 o'clock, 3 o'clock, it's almost on top of us. Maybe some of it is already. And so 3 to 4 is a real good time frame for big thunderstorms. Then 5 o'clock, same thing, it hangs on. You notice this is a long period that we are in thunderstorm activity or very heavy rains throughout this area. So there you go. Kind of It's still at 8 o'clock, we got rain, and we still have rain at 9 o'clock and at 10 o'clock, but we're not in the showery thunderstorm activity activity now. Now we're in a steady rain kind of thing. And there at 11 o'clock, it still shows some light rain around us, but by midnight, it's gone. All right. And then we start to see the next advancing system coming in for tomorrow. All right. So let's go back and look at this close up. I know many of us want to see what it looks like when you get in closer, and you can see the time. Try to time this out. Now, this is the newest run too, 11Z. The 12Z is coming out right now. What is it? 9:10. We don't have much of it, but we might be able to see the early portions of it here. So let's see. So see a few scattered showers out in front, right? 15Z is 11 o'clock. So we're at 11 o'clock, and there it is right across the central portion of the state. And it's saying it's going to push a little more to the north quicker than it is through the central part of it, all right? So that leans more towards the 4 to 6 hour time frame of getting here, which is 1 to 3 o'clock this afternoon, all right? So there we go. But there is still showery activity out in front. Here we are at noon, and you see scattered showers, maybe a thunderstorm or two in there popping up out in front of the system. And as it goes through, it kind of, that first little band goes through, and then there's an hour or two break before Lafayette, which is right here. All right, now we're at 2 o'clock, and the band is right there, settled in, ready to get to us. 3 o'clock, and then 4 o'clock, it's on top of us. But anywhere in there, it could join up with this. So it's saying that the northern portion is going to take some time to get here. And then by 5 o'clock, thunderstorms are around just about everybody. So you can see that the event takes a while. 6 o'clock, showers, thunderstorms over us. By 7 o'clock, here we go, that you are talking. It's starting to rain. The rain is ending, and the thunder is starting to let up, but it's still enough to hang in there. Here we are at, what is this? This is 9 o'clock, 10 o'clock, 11 o'clock, still rain on top of Lafayette. And by midnight, it's gone, it looks like, at this point. So they've slowed it down a bit. Let's see if the new run is in. How much did we get of that? We only have 29%, but look at that. We do get a better look at it. So here's the rain now. This is 9 o'clock, all right? Here's 10, all right? So we see the line lining up towards us, trying to bowl us over, so to speak, all right? And then now there's 11. 12. Now, 12 is saying it's staying together and it's more tied in with the thunderstorms a little bit more, which is more what I would think myself when I first see that line out there, right? And see how that line is broken off from this line over here a bit. So they're down, especially on the southern portion of this. You could see that's where the isolated chance for a tornado might pop up. But generally speaking, this thing's going to create its own wind when it comes through. And so here we are. It's 1 o'clock, and that line of showers has developed out in front. All right. And then by this is more accurate. 2 o'clock, thunderstorms are on top of us. And by 3, it's passed through. Might be a little break. And then here comes the next batch of thunderstorm activity, right? And then by, there it is, 6 o'clock this evening, it's raining hard again, thunderstorm activity around, but not really severe with this portion, right? And then by, there you go, 8 o'clock this evening, it's still heavy rain around us, right? We've got a lot during that time frame. 8 o'clock, 9 o'clock, still raining good. 10 o'clock, still raining good. Now this one clears us off right at about 11, maybe midnight, all right? So we've got for that. Let's look for accumulation precipitation on this real quick. Total precip during that shows at least an inch for most of us. Look at this, Crawfordsville, 2.4 inches showing up on there. Down towards Covington, 1.5 inches. So the amounts of thunderstorm activity, obviously heavier thunderstorms, this kind of puts you in this general area for heavy rains in central Indiana. So there could be some flooding in there. You see some potential for 3.5 inches of rain in a very short period, right? This is all 1 inch of rain in Lafayette is going to be in a very short period. And south of town, 1.5 inches very quickly. So that'll come through. And then north of town looks like more like 0.5 inch and less activity and lots of heavy rain back off towards the southwest during that. So you guys know what I like to look at for thunderstorms. I look at lightning density to give me an idea. And sure enough, now what have we looked at in the last 2 weeks? We've just looked at a lot of these gray areas, right, with a couple little dark spots. We haven't seen hardly any of this kind of activity with lots of flashes off of the thunderstorms telling me they're bigger and stronger, right? And then we see the activity washing through the area. This is 1 o'clock this afternoon, and the potential is there already. And then 2, we have the big band coming through, and that's where that heavy thunderstorm may be that wants to pass through just to the south of us. And then by, what is that? That was 2, that was 3 o'clock. Most of the big thunderstorm is kind of got past us. Look at that, 4 o'clock. We're looking at pretty good, but we have one secondary band trying to come through, right? 4, so there was that little opening 5, and then at 6 o'clock we have something come through us or just south of us, all right, on the chart there with lightning. This is much more lightning during that time frame. Then everything dies away. It's just not much thunder with it. By 10 o'clock, there it is. 11 o'clock, it's gone, and thunder is not out of the picture. And we start focusing on tomorrow, right, and what is going to happen for tomorrow. So that's what we're looking at least as of right now. What's that do for our temperatures? Look at our temperatures, how warm. We already know it's warm out in front. Look at this, 80s popping up very quickly in the next hour or two. And that's where we'll hit our high. There's an 81 in Crawfordsville at noon, right? And we're at 78. So our high is going to come very quickly this afternoon or even the noon time frame. And then it'll cool off because of the rain, right? And then the rain goes through, which also loses the intensity of the thunderstorm. A lot of the stability is there. It becomes more stable, and we look pretty good on that front. So there's the 12Z running through. Now, the 12Z will pick up that second line of thunderstorms for tomorrow. All right, but let's go back to 6Z real quick here and see what it looks like for the thunderstorms for tomorrow. Let's see, winter. There we go, precip. Okay, so here's the second band, right? Or no, this is the first band coming through. There we go. Have my time set up. We lose most everything by 11. We're pretty good most of the day tomorrow. And look at this. Here we go. Now we got a time frame tomorrow morning when I'm talking to you again. Here's a chance for a shower out in front. Thunderstorms down to the south of us, it looks like. There'll be a band or something going just south of us. And this time, the bubble protects us a little bit. And most of the thunderstorms are south of us by noon, right? So we're right here. Covington, down south there. Again, it looks like Crawfordsville gets a bit more rain, maybe even south of them. You can see how it's kind of popping right there. So here it's not much. It's some rain, but it's not a big, heavy thunderstorm potential there. And then it pops, and it goes right there. It pops just past us, and then goes off towards the east as a bigger line of thunderstorms. Because of the activity coming through earlier, the activity of the thunderstorms is not as much, but then it picks up a line to our east. And, now you're talking Kokomo and heading to Indianapolis, and then off it goes. But it does rain again tomorrow. And then here we are at like 8 o'clock tomorrow night. We have another little slot of some showers maybe coming through, and maybe some thunderstorm activity on that. We'll have to see what the new run does for the timing on that. But the new run right now just doesn't have enough in it. It's only out to 8Z, which is 4 o'clock in the morning. So it has the new system approaching. It does look stronger and thicker on here than it did on that 6Z run. Don't you? I think you would agree if you've been paying attention, right? So Bill's on there. Currently, he's at 74 degrees, partly cloudy. Winds out of southeast, 6 knots, 75% humidity on the RH, and his pressure is slowly rising. He's down just northwest of Nashville. He says they'll have a fair chance of some pulse thunderstorms tomorrow afternoon. Wednesday is potentially going to be nasty for them. Yes, these next 3 days have a lot of activity in them. For us, it's 2 days, really, today and tomorrow, and then we're not in the activity Wednesday. He's kind of more out of it today, and he's in it more tomorrow and Wednesday, right, for activity, for the best potentials for thunderstorms. And how do we know that? Well, we can go to the Storm Prediction Center, and these guys, this is all they look at is the thunderstorm activity, and here's where it is today. So Bill's down here. He's not going to really see much down here for today, right? So we are up here, and we are in the yellow area for slight, But then look at where the big potential is. It's Kansas and Nebraska, right? Even up into Iowa and western Missouri. And we're like, well, we're way over here. We're getting thunderstorms. Why aren't we getting that? It just doesn't have the feel. It doesn't have the jet stream kicking with it. It doesn't have maybe a low-level jet kicking into it from the south. And over here it does, all right? That's why they see a much more enhanced potential there. But what is it? How about tornadic activity? See, there is just a very, very slight chance for some tornadic activity in it when it comes through. Remember I said that one bottom thunderstorm? We always watch out for the activity on that bottom thunderstorm. That'll be the one we watch. Though we are in a big propensity for wind, right? These will carry their own wind, but this has a bigger chance of being severe wind, and there is a slight risk of some hail with this, which has been kind of out of the picture the last few weeks, it seems like, when activity comes through. So a very active day setting up that's just today, all right? Now, let's look at tomorrow. Now, it shifts tomorrow. It does put us in this, but because of the timing, it may be a little bit more east of us at this point. And then it gets closer to Bill tomorrow. He starts to worry about the thunderstorms tomorrow, and then it moves all the way down to Texas at this point, right? So that's what we're seeing there. So going to be nasty. And then the next day, right, the third day, here we go, boom, right there. Oh, Bill, it shows it passing you by Wednesday. So the activity, unless it goes stationary out over here and we start to look at this low here, which could happen, right? Cold front here, stationary through here, thunderstorms here, and then you could be getting into it. But right now, SPC says Thursday, that'd be Wednesday, is going to be okay for Tennessee. Not too bad. Maybe it's more of a tomorrow into Wednesday activity, which is something that always happens or can happen, right? So all right, so let's go. My friend Chris, who is going to Antarctica this year, came up with this cool. It's a I don't know. It grabs all the model data and puts it in data form here, so you can look at it across the screen. Right? I'm pointing at it. Sorry, I should get the screen thing out. I was pointing at it. But like, for instance, it says it's got precip type right here. Well, then it shows any type of precip, and it says the first chance of precip for us is about 2 o'clock. And then at 3 o'clock, we have a really good chance. We're in the yes categories right here, all the way out till about 11 o'clock tonight, right? And I think this is taking the 06Z run. It doesn't have the 20 in yet. It says heaviest precipitation is right around 20Z, right? Okay, well, what time is that? That's 4 o'clock this afternoon, right? Or this evening. Well, I guess we call it afternoon right now. So here you go. You got 2 o'clock, you have rain. 3 o'clock, you have rain. And then the thunderstorm activity is a yes at 3 o'clock, 4 o'clock, all afternoon into the evening. It has a potential for rain out till about 11. But the chances late are falling off pretty good. But chances early are really good. It shows about a half an inch of rain falling just in an hour right around 4 o'clock this afternoon. So it looks pretty heavy. So this is taking the same model and putting it where it can. And look at this. Pops us to 84 right before the system comes through around 1 o'clock. All right. So here's 18Z, which is 2, has us at 80, then at 84 and 82. So by noon, it says we're going to be 82 and 84 and then 80. Those are the exact numbers on the model as you look at it, right? So that's where you're looking at your where's it going to be the most unstable? It's going to be most unstable right there at the 84, right? When are the thunderstorms coming through? Right after that, right? So visibilities drop. Look at you. You don't have much for sky cover at all here. You have very little clouds until it gets right near us. So that's the next hour or two before it starts picking up really good. Then you become very cloud efficient, so to speak. You're going to have lots of clouds over you, all right? Temperature drops down, and then we look pretty good until tomorrow. And then this is killing the chances, right? Remember that first run killed the chances. Didn't look very good tomorrow, right? So it's at 15Z. It's at 9 o'clock in the morning. It says we have a chance for some rain. Does not put a chance for thunder in here. but I'll bet that this changes on the next run when we get the new run in, all right? So this is pretty cool. And this is a good way to look at different things. You can pick out things very easily. Plus, Chris has it so that like things like thunderstorms come up in a different color so you can see it really well, all right? So that's cool. I like that. He's working on that. He's heading to Antarctica. Got him into the program. It's pretty cool. I think he's going to have a great time down there. Bill will attest. Bill's been down many times too. And it's just one of those things. It's different. It's something that you don't get into in most places, so it's pretty cool. All right, so he's going to be heading off to Antarctica. Enough about him. Let's hit some cameras because we got to be seeing some stuff by now, right? Let's look out to our west. We got to go out to the Fowler camera first, right? We got to get our car count. Look at that, 2 today. 2, and one's a truck with a trailer. Does that count as 3? No, it's 2, but I see lots of sunshine. That's the good news. I don't see any clouds coming in yet. We can see the sun coming in from the west, so we're looking towards the northeast is what we're looking at right now. All right, so that's the Fowler camera. The Fowler camera has 2 cars on it today. All right, so let's look other places. Let's look back down towards Covington first before we go all the way up to Rensselaer. And we see lots of sunshine on this one too. Not much there to speak of. And what did the radar and satellite look like? Let's go back to it here. Here's the radar, right? Let's put the clouds on there real quick. Go back to the visible, and we can see most of the state of Indiana is quiet. Look at that. You can see the Wabash Valley and the Wabash River going right through what I would call the Wabash Valley of Lafayette, northern Wabash Valley. Right there, it looks pretty good, right? Okay, just some clouds here and there in different spots. So Rensselaer, looks like up here we're going to see something off to our west. If any of the cameras are pointed in that direction, we're going to see that first line of showers that it's kind of in there. And it's been very spotty on how much is falling from those showers, right? We put the mosaic on it. You can kind of see there's not much falling out here. You see it's starting to pop down here towards St. Louis a little bit. That may get towards us as we get during anything. And then if you put the dual pole next rad on there, you'll get everything in a little closer if you want to get really active into some of what you can and can't see. And then what did I do? I messed everything up. Now I got to come back to my set up everything. Oh, no, I even got to set up the map. That's bummer. All right, there we go. So there is the nation itself if you want to see it, and most of the activity, obviously, in the central portion of the United States. Entire East Coast is gorgeous. The entire West Coast is also gorgeous, and most of Texas and most of the Gulf of America coastline is gorgeous this morning. Us in the Mideast and the Middle West, whichever way you want to call it. Let's see, if you're over here, it's the Mideast. That's what because you're east of you. If you're over here, it's the Midwest, right? All right, there we go. We got it. We got it figured out. All right, so there we go. There's our thunderstorm activity for today. We're close in now. We've seen that the temperatures are going to go up pretty good. What's tomorrow going to look like real quick here? We'll get that, and then we'll come back to some stuff for today, and we'll get into that. We'll get into some of the long-range stuff here real fast, and we'll kind of go over it. Like, here's the NAM. Let's go with the NAM nest. It's a little longer. And what does it show for the activity today? It shows the line with a scattered line of showers popping out in front of it around 1 or 2 o'clock, right? A good line of thunderstorms behind that, still there. And then that line gets to us about what time is that? That's 4 o'clock when we will have stuff in there. You notice there's bigger gaps. You don't see lots of the light green in here. It's more showing the thunderstorms, showing where the lines are. And it still shows the heaviest rains, this band right here, right through here, south of us. All right? Lafayette's here. We're going to get clipped off by the northern portion of that, or at least both models say that. And then the heavier rains are going to be south of here. And sure enough, that's exactly where the NAM nest is pointing towards everything. All right. Okay. Then it dries us out quicker. Right. So here's 4 o'clock, and it's got us kind of dry. And it says we get clipped down maybe in Crawfordsville by the second one. Second wave, where the HER says that we're going to be in that rain most of the time. So it's just kind of parlance of what's going to happen between the two models. And then this one brings in the rain for tomorrow. And let's see the timing on it. 21Z Tuesday. This thing's way off on the timing for tomorrow. This has it coming in about 4 in the afternoon on Tuesday, but we'll see what happens on that one. Maybe that develops on that time frame better. Keep that one in mind when we go back to the HER for the 12Z later at the end, about 9:50. We'll look at that in another 20 minutes or so. All right, so there's the activity with that thunderstorm there. Let's look at what the long range says, GFS, for us. I'm going to go back wider. It's just easier to read. All right. So here we are this morning. There's the line of thunderstorms going through. Bam, bam, bam. Here comes the second line. It's kind of got that little wave in the morning, and then what does it do by the afternoon tomorrow? See, it has it coming in much, much later tomorrow, the activity. But it's kind of east-west with a southwesterly to northeasterly tilt in it, definitely for sure. And that's kind of where the line of thunderstorms they have set up for tomorrow is too, right? All right, so we're close there, at least on that front. But then we have a couple of really nice days. Wednesday and Thursday look great. And temperatures will be below normal, but it'll still be comfortable. Weather looks great. We're not looking at any rain. I'm out to Friday now until Friday. And then we get a big burst of Friday rain coming from the southwest. It's coming from this direction, right? It's coming from the southwest. So go back a couple shots real quick. Okay, here's Friday morning at 2 in the morning, and then by Friday around the 8 o'clock time frame, it's on our doorstep, and look where it came from. It came from the St. Louis area. So instead of tracking this direction or this direction, this one is coming a little more from the south. Usually we get a little bit more thunderstorm activity building with this. So Friday, I'd like to see what's going to happen with this, because this looks more like a warm front kind of in here than anything else. But maybe there's a low developing right here, going to go over right up through there, and we'll see what happens. So and it moves through, right? And then you kind of see the low right here on Saturday morning. There it is. Okay, so that is a low that develops down there. You can follow it going the opposite direction pretty easy, right? There it is right there. So you got a low over here, and you got an extended front, right, like this, and you can see where it's going like that, right? So you got a cold front, you got a warm front to a low. Maybe that's the occlusion, right? And then another cold front here, or just a developing low in here, which is still affected and hooked up to this one over here where there's a warm front sector going this direction, right? See, so all this, it's a big play of movement on Friday into Saturday to look at. So keep that in mind. The weekend might be just not great the whole time, and it might be pretty decent because we're far enough out on the forecast to fine-tune it by tomorrow or Wednesday to get a good Saturday, Sunday feel. Remember what happened last week? We were watching Saturday to see how good it would be for weddings, because a week before it looked spectacular and gorgeous. And Tuesday it made an exact U-turn. It went from gorgeous to, hey, rain potential, all this kind of activity on Saturday. And sure enough, that's what we got. We got a little bit of rain in the morning. Depending where you were, you got it into the afternoon. Didn't turn out as good. Although there were spots in the afternoon that turned out pretty decent. So if you had a wedding on Saturday, hopefully you're able to get it in, especially if it was outdoors. But Sunday, all kinds of activity so the weekend looks pretty wet and a lot of stuff going on. But Wednesday, Thursday, and early Friday looks pretty clear at this point. Lots of rain coming. Look at there's rain on Monday too. Lots of rain in there. Lots of systems in here. Lots of lows, weak lows to another low, kind of going off. Everything's moving kind of this direction right now. We're going from the west to the east with maybe a slight tilt towards the northeast. And it looks like it's pretty rainy down towards Nashville too during this period next week, Monday. We'll see how this sets up. But nothing's real big time organized like your Big Daddy storm like we talk about, right? Now we got a high building in behind it for Tuesday, though, and Wednesday. And we look pretty good Tuesday and Wednesday. We're getting into that kind of summery feel where any place that gets hot, you get thunderstorms popping up, right? You got a low out here. You can get a frontal system and kind of go like that, but you got high pressure in the area. That's Thursday. So the middle of next week doesn't look half bad. Spotty thunderstorm activity. It's been pretty quiet up to this point, I feel like, anyway, for May. And then May 29th, next Friday, right? It starts to develop something out here to the west. And then let's see, does it turn into Daddy Storm? It does not. It just falls apart. Look at that. It just falls apart, and there's not much to it. Lots of activity next Saturday, so it looks rainy is what it looks like, with some short periods of a couple days of nice weather in there. And lots of sporadic weather with no real semblance of, a line of actually what's happening. So that's what I see for next week. A lot of different activity going on, which means we're going to see a lot of different changes in our temperature too, right? We're going to see these ups and downs, especially for like early. Here we are, we're 80 today, but tomorrow we're only going to be like 65, right? There we go. There's 65 tomorrow. That's Wednesday. Let me go in closer so we can look at the numbers better. All right, there we go. So 65 in Lafayette, 65 down in Monticello, or not Monticello, Crawfordsville tomorrow. Went the wrong direction. All right, so there we go. We've got it, and then it's kind of chilly Thursday morning, but it's still 40s. Upper 40s isn't bad for this time of the year. What do I got on my little notes here? Yeah, the 20th, it's 52 is for your low usually. So 40s aren't that far away. That ain't that far away at all. All right, so when you go along with that, you can see that we're getting now an easterly wind, all right? Easterly winds are not a big thing here in Lafayette. Northeast is the least amount of wind we ever see. East is second, all right? Then third comes out of the north a bit more. Well, actually, I think probably southeast kind of goes around the clock. Least, next least, next least. Then northerly is a little bit less, and then we start fighting the difference between south. Then your big direction all year round is from the southwest and from the west. All right, that's our generally. And when you look at a wind chart of the entire year for Lafayette, that's what you see. The vast majority of the time, you get winds out of this. We'll call it from this direction, south to west. Anywhere in there. That's your big wind direction, and that's where your big wind pattern is for Lafayette. All right? And then during the winter, it shifts up in here, and it becomes more of a northwesterly to northerly pattern, right? And then in the spring, summer, and fall, it shifts back down to this area here like that. So that's kind of how it works for most of us. Variations are always there, but that's what we're going to have an east wind, it looks like, later this week. So it's a chillier wind. Not real bad chilly, though. Look at this. Would you take 65 in the afternoons? Not bad. Wednesday, Thursday, supposed to be sunshine, right? Looking pretty good. We'll see what happens. Temperatures in the 50s in the morning. Not bad. Look at Friday's temperature still doesn't get very high, though. Lots of rain in there with us, right, on Friday. So chilly Friday with rain. Saturday, a mixture of rain. Boy, ball games don't look great this year. We're getting a lot of rain here in the next week or so. It looks pretty rainy. Then we get a warm day, maybe Saturday, back up to like 77. That's about the norm for this time of the year. For the 23rd of May, yep, that is exactly 71 is the high. So there's a 72. 72 hits it real close. The next day on Sunday, 73. So we're right there. None of the lows now they're all above normal during this period. So your temperatures are near normal on the highs. You're above normal on your lows, and then you pop in some warmth here by next Tuesday. Right there we go. We got a pocket of 80s up here. I think they're getting a little too excited about the 80s sometimes. But look at our wind. We got an east wind here. Now there's not much for wind speeds in this area right here at all. All right, so that's what you can see from that. This is very light wind. So this may be something as an aberration, but this is next Tuesday. So we'll see what changes by the time we get to that point. All right. Then we move along. Oops, put the arrow there. There's the finger. Oh, it's getting the finger. All right. You can say, I go watch that guy, Brian, but he always gives me the finger. It's the wrong finger, but hey, it's the finger. All right. 83 next Wednesday, so above normal there. So a couple warm days, then back to, hangs on, 82 on Thursday. So middle of next week's warm, but there's a lot of in and out shower activity around. Then we're in the 70s and the 80s, and it's back. It bounces back and forth between the 70s and 80s, and then there's even a day next 2 Sundays from now. It's back in the 80s again. Nothing real dramatically over the top temperature-wise, nothing over dramatically for going low either, right? So we're at or above normal on most of our highs after this week, which were kind of low after today. Right? And then a lot of our lows are at or just below normal. And then they become at or just above normal. So Nothing out of the ordinary for spring, that is for sure. And there's a lot of activity there, thunderstorm-wise, in that. So let's take a look at the HER real quick here. See how much the 12Z's got on it. It's got 79%, so let's wait a little bit on that. Let's head out and hit the cameras again. We didn't go into it after we hit Covington much, did we? All right, let me get my little thing off of here. Let's go down here. Let's go way up to the guys up north. Rensselaer, you up in that area. Woohoo! Let's take a look at it. All right, I'm going to go back to the north. We got to look at the construction, right? Oh, there's the north shot of it. All right. It looks really nice. There's not really seeing there. We just got a little bit of darkness out on the southern horizon there as we look towards the west. This is basically west. You can see the shadow coming right there, right? So west is like due west would be right about here. So you can see some of the clouds on the horizon. That's where I thought we would see them. The 231 junction, I cannot tell you yet where this is pointed. I think it's pointed north. I can't see the shadows. Oh, yeah. Yeah, east is over here, west is over here, north is right there. So it's kind of pointed towards the north on that one. It says south, but I think that's the back end of it. I think that's what they're looking at it. I know that's not south. We all know that's not south. All right, we can see the shadows coming off the side. So this one also looking towards the north in Remington. Can't see much on that one, can we? And 231 doesn't do us any good other than, hey, what's going on? Just do the little pump. Come on, guys, give us a honk. All right, maybe I heard that one. I'm not sure. Not sure if I heard that one at all. And then we've got activity coming. But we still just see a darkness on the horizon in that direction. And then State Road 43 doesn't look at it. Here we go. Here's one looking towards the north. I thought I might see a little more darkness out on the horizon, but still too far away. Just a mix of some light clouds off to the north on the camera there. And then as you look to the south, nothing. This one's looking to the south at State Road 38, which is down by Dayton, right? At that exit. And then the exit down by Frankfort looks good. Field is dry. That's good. And it's gorgeous down there right now, right? And there you are looking off towards the metropolis of Frankfort. And you can see that there are a couple of nothing. You see a lot of bright sun on this one because it's pointed right at the sun. And there you go for that. Let's look back into the town. That was the rest stop to the south down there, wasn't it? Yeah. So let's get into Lafayette and see what's going on here. Okay, here's on the north side of town. We are up at the Walmart in West Lafayette. Looks really nice there. Okay, the airport, same picture, looking at the ground. All right, River Road, looking nice, but I start to see some of the scattered clouds we saw out in front of the system. You can see they're pretty easy, and the mall shot doesn't do us much good, at least for weather, other than to tell us it's sunny right now. All right. So there's where we've got those, at least for activities right now. Let's go back to the radar real quick here. Let's come back in on a regional shot real fast. Let's see how that looks for you guys. All right, so we can see a little bit of everything there. Well, let's go in one more even, all right? Let's go into the subsectors so we can see, and then we'll move it to the west just a little bit. Put a run on this. You can see Lafayette right about here. You see the advancing clouds, but there's no real rain showing up in this at all. So this is just a layer out in front, but we do have active thunderstorms. Now, this cloudiness right here, and you notice where it is. It's moving over and early in front, which could keep our temperature a little bit cooler. Yet we're still looking at thunderstorms down here to be the mainstay of where we're going to have problems. All right. So that's where we're looking, at least right now. When you pop in the radar on this, you get this. Look at that. There you go. You can see all the way across the state of Indiana. It is quiet at the moment. We start to get a shower or two when we get right near I-55 heading south. I-55 heading south, you're starting to pick up some scattered showers south of Champaign down towards Mattoon and Sullivan, which my old homestead. We lived there for a year when I was a kid. Yeah, we liked it. And then you see the line of thunderstorms still hanging together here to the north. Says it'll fall apart a little bit and as it gets closer. We'll look on the new run again here and see what it says. And then you got a good line there. And then where is it? We're looking on that bottom sector down here somewhere, which is passing through and north of St. Louis right now. This is where some of the really good activity could be if there's any. And then way out towards Kansas, farther down. Kansas, northern Nebraska, Arkansas. and Missouri was a potential there going up towards Iowa for today, for today. And there is that storm prediction. See that? There's your Kansas area is the worst area. We are still in a thunderstorm activity area for today. All right, so there it is there with the radar, and then getting it closer. Let's take a look at the sectors a little bit easier. We'll hit the way out west. We're out here on the edge, so we can kind of look at the activity pretty close in here. Look at this. Thunderstorms are there. This batch is staying together right now. I think but it's getting cut off from the flow from the south, helping to see how you're getting all this flow of warmth coming up, and you can see that by more thunderstorms popping off in front of the system, right? So that's going to cut off the flow of intensity of what can make a thunderstorm bigger and stronger to the north, right? It's going to cut off a lot of that humidity and that warmth. It'll still get warm out here in front of this, and then the activity will shift itself down to here mainly and try to go south of us. That does not mean we won't see severe weather out of this. That is still a strong possibility. Have they even put out National Weather Service hasn't even put out a thunderstorm watch for us at all yet. That's how weak they think the thunderstorms are going to be. Nothing in Illinois yet either. So that's what you're seeing on those fronts, all right? So there's the thunderstorm activity there going back, and then you go back to Lafayette so you can get a little closer, and you see it's just out there on the edge. A couple hours from the state line, another hour to us, so 3 hours. Where are we at? I've still been shooting for 1 o'clock, right? 1 to 2 o'clock, with some scattered activity out in front, maybe a little earlier. And then dying away by about 4, and maybe the new run on the forecast will show us that again. Let's see what it says. Winter precipitation type. Come back to now. Okay, so here it is now. 10 o'clock shows the line, shows everything coming at us. We see a big band, but this is mostly rain now instead of the thunderstorms out in front, right? But this still shows thunderstorms together all the way up into Lake Michigan, but being cut off by the angles, right? The angles are now. Let's take a quick look at this. Okay, when it's over here in Illinois, all the flow was up into the thunderstorms, right? And it's still doing that. Your flow is coming from here. This is where your unstable air is. It's out in front of the system. It's all moving basically from southwest to northeast. So what happens to all this out here, right, as it keeps moving? As it keeps moving, it just gets cut off. It doesn't have anything to pull into it. When this was out in front back here, it was getting bigger and stronger, but now it's being cut off. The air is, some of the air is there, but generally speaking, most of the air is staying out in front of the system like this, where the unstable air is, and this is where your more unstable activity for this morning is going to be into the afternoon hours, and then, of course, way back, take the front all the way back down into Kansas, and that's where it's going to be really, really nasty back down there. Okay, so here we go. We got the showers going through, right? Boom. That's 2 o'clock now this afternoon. They show it on us 1, 2 o'clock. Kind of pushes through. There's a little opening, and then we get a little bit of secondary showers into the evening hours. And even the NAMNES said there was nothing there, all right, during that time frame. But then it says we rain through most of the evening. Could be a problem right now, right, with that, the way you look at that. We'll see how it goes. And then it's done, though, by midnight, 11, 12, 1, there it dries up. And then here comes tomorrow, and it falls apart, and the new one shows nothing in the morning. What does it try to do to us later in the day? Nothing. It all falls apart for tomorrow for us. Look at this. And we get a line of showers late. Now we're at 8 o'clock, so tomorrow looks much drier on the HRR than it did earlier. And then tomorrow evening, late, 8, 9, 10 o'clock, we start getting showers, maybe a thunderstorm or two out of that. I'm sure there's some lightning in there. Let's take a look at that real quick. Lightning, bam. See, very light. Now we're back to these very light grays. Just an isolated, heavier thunderstorm south of town tomorrow night. That's 2 in the morning. There we go. Crawfordsville has something at like midnight. Just a pop-up shower and thunderstorm out in front, none of which will be severe, right? We're just talking, and it's kind of hit and miss, isn't it? There's the Lafayette bubble, right? Look at everything heavy south and more activity north, goes right by us, and the bubble kind of keeps us clean. What is up with the bubble? Here it's south of us and not over us. I don't know what that is. It's just funny. It just is funny how it continues to happen like that. Now we go way back to today on the thunderstorm activity, and we see lots of lightning here with the system at noon, right, and 1 o'clock, and there's a big batch out here to our west, just across the state line around noon, 1 o'clock, and then it all comes moving through. There's that showery thunderstorm right there. It kind of stays together, and then as it crosses Lafayette, it actually pushes it south down into Crawfordsville instead of us. So it shows more of a slight swag down to the south, so to speak, right? And then we watch for some of this activity for later on coming in for thunderstorm activity. And what does it do? Well, tonight there's a chance right there, right about 6 o'clock again for some thunderstorm activity over us. And then it moves on 7 and 8. It's just, isolated thunderstorm here or there. Through that activity. And then it comes on tomorrow. It falls apart right now is what it's got us for. That's the new run. Then there's an isolated chance of a thunderstorm. That's 10 o'clock tomorrow night. And then it just shows spotty stuff. And look at it. There's the bubble. There's the bubble. Got thunderstorms south, thunderstorms north. Same activity as we saw in the other one. Coming through. Everything misses Lafayette. Don't know why that is. I know it's just an oddity thing, right? But it is there. All right, so, and I think we've covered just about everything today, guys. We've hit just about everything. We know the activity's coming today. It's coming this afternoon. We can look at the radar charts all we want. We can see it. We know it's there. Just be prepared. Wind is the biggest threat for us today. And these thunderstorms, even a small thunderstorm can have some gusts up to 40 to 60 on any given time. If you catch the area where a thunderstorm collapses and that downburst comes down and it hits the ground, where does it only has one place to go. It spreads out in a big circle like dropping a rock in the river, right? And then, of course, it gets less. But if you happen to be within a mile or two of where that downburst comes to the ground and it collapses and all that downrush comes, you could be in one of those areas pretty easily. Meanwhile, they carry their own wind with them as they go along. See, the system itself is moving along 30 to 60 miles an hour, so it's carrying its own wind as it moves, let alone the wind that can come out of a single cell out of there at any given time. So while these are not going to be huge thunderstorms, something to keep an eye on. I think we're going to see an isolated chance for severe weather based on that. You look at the Storm Prediction Center and shows we are in that spot right here. And it's primarily not a tornado activity. That's all out to the folks in central Kansas right there. They're going to be running into some pretty good stuff there today. Did they just update that? 12:44. I think they just updated it. What time is it now? It's I lost track of my times. It's almost 10, so that's a little off the timing. But there's the update of where everything's going to be the worst, and then tornadic activity is in there, wind activity is in there, and then hail activity right there you can see. So we have slight potentials for everything with a better chance of wind than anything else. And categorical, though, shows you where the big place to stay away from today is. That's Kansas. This is where all your hurricane hunters are. They have probably settled themselves right here, and they are getting ready to attack from here and from here. All right, coming in from the southwest behind the tornado is a good spot, and from the south, if you attack from the north, a lot of times the cell's moving right up into you. Yes, you'll get to it, but you'll get hit by it too. The goal is to stay right behind the thing and get pictures of it and watch it, right? So that's the goal. Bill and I, we'd ride out on motorcycles and we'd take a look, take some pictures. We'd be okay, head home. That's how good we are at forecasting weather. What? I thought I'd hear some cheering. Nothing. All right, so let's see if C2G's weather is updated at all. I don't know when this updates. I don't think it looked like it did update a little bit right there. Did it update? What's the time frame on this one? That's to show me sunrise and stuff, what I need there sometimes for that. I think the actual time is underneath the screen over here. 00 to 48 hours. Okay, so it's running still this morning, but what do we have for activity? It still shows 18Z, which is 2 o'clock for first chances of rain, really. 3 o'clock raining pretty good, and by 4 o'clock it's pouring on us. Chances of thunderstorm activity are high after 2 to 3, and then it just stays there that way. And you got, just bits and pieces. First around 4 o'clock, and then around 6, you got a better chance for some rain. Then a little bit later. This one's still, I think, the one from this morning, right? That's what we're looking at. And it looks at see, it still has that slight chance for rain, where I think this will change to no rain at all, and it'll be more like this activity for tomorrow night. So that's the one on this front. Maybe it's updated. I'm not sure. I thought I saw it blink and change its times, but this would still be the 6Z. It's still valid 6Z, so that's the old one still. The new one is not finished yet. That's all it is. Oh, there it is, finally finished. But we've already seen what we wanted to see out of it, right? All right, then you go through, and then it passes through tomorrow evening. There we go. There's the tomorrow evening stuff. And here's today, which we've looked at a couple times. And the thunderstorm activity looks like it's going to hit Lafayette, but then it kind of just moves on down to Crawfordsville, a little more southerly on us, and it does stick with that. If you look at the rainfall amounts too, it can give you a good indication of that. Let's see, where's the rain? Precipitation. Let's just go total precip. And you can see the heaviest is south of us. We're kind of on the line of the heaviest, right? So if you go right here, just south of us at Crawfordsville or so, somewhere right in there, you'll find what their numbers are, right? And I got the brush on, so I can't see it. So, like, here we are. Here's Lafayette, just south of town. It's an 1.5 inches, right? Just north of town, like where I am, it's less than 3/4 of an inch. Now, down in Crawfordsville, it's 2.5 inches south of Crawfordsville right in there. All right. So now we're getting, some pretty decent rains at any given time in different places. So be prepared, be ready. Most of the activity is going to be just south of us. We're kind of on the northern edge of everything again today. No real big chance for tornadoes or anything, but still a chance for some severe weather moving through as it comes through in the next couple of hours. And the radar right now on the horizon shows everything coming quickly from the west, as it normally does, with showers and thunderstorms already popping up along I-55. We got thunderstorm activity down towards East St. Louis, over towards Carbondale. Then you get a little bit more over here, Effingham and that kind of thing, and starting to approach Champaign right now. And so some of that could get in here early, but the line itself looks like it's 1 to 3 o'clock. When it gets here. All right, that's the timing. It's 10 o'clock in the morning. You got 3 hours to kind of get moving. If you need to get out and grab some outdoor, chairs or something you're worried about, maybe make sure they're put away in case a big wind comes through and blows you over in the next couple of hours. All right, so that is it for today, everyone. If I really see some really bad, severe weather in here, I'll pop on. But I got to take a grandson to a doctor's appointment this afternoon, so I'm going to be right in the middle of it out there in the car, probably as it's happening, just like some of you are. If you can, have a blessed, beautiful day. Enjoy an hour or two more of sun, and then the activity starts to get pretty rampant for the next couple days. Middle portion of the week looks really nice, too, at this point. That's it for now. We'll talk to you again same time tomorrow, 9 o'clock a.m. Let's talk Lafayette.